Everyone, this is the moment we've been waiting for all weekend. Am I wrong? Yeah! All right. Okay, so please make as much noise as you possibly can for our Terrifier cast. So I have a stationary mic you guys get to share, okay? All right, so first order of business, guys. We have got to talk about Screamboat. Yeah! He was here for the screening. Wonderful. How did that come into your guys' life? Please tell me. Tell me everything.
I was actually approached by Stephen and Amy about a year before we even really started doing anything with it, because we worked together on the Mean One, and they're like, we got a fun idea because we know the Willie IP is becoming free for everybody to use at the beginning of 2024. So I'm like, oh, well, we got to do something with that. And they're like, we got this crazy idea for this little movie, and we want you to play Willie in it. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, because that's a full circle moment for me, because my first big starring role I ever had was back in middle school in a production of Mickey's Christmas Carol, and I played Mickey in that. So I was like, I gotta do this. This is totally meant to happen. So, and then I finally got to read the script, and I was like, oh my god, this is so much better than I even anticipated. It's just such a fun story, and I was like, yeah, I gotta do this, especially since they wanted to do the practical effects with it, and and there's like, oh, Willie's gonna be like about 2.5, 3 feet tall. I'm like, oh my gosh, so we get to do that kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kid type stuff. Oh, no one's saying it, don't share! Yeah. It's payback for the cold.
That's what happens when you kill me.
So yeah, and that's the Aristocrats.
All right.
I just, Mike Levy sent me the audition ticket for my character, and then I auditioned, and I went in and did a callback with them. Mine was more traditional, like I went through the audition process, and then we had a reading, and I didn't even know you were in it. Like, I didn't know really too much about it, and then I saw you at the reading, and I was like, we might have been obnoxious. I was like, I didn't know I was going to see you. So, yeah.
She literally jumped up in my arms.
I know, I hadn't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's been long.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, let's move on to Terrifier, of course. How did Terrifier come into your life? I want to hear your audition stories. I mean, I'm sure most of us have heard Damien's, but I don't know about the rest of you guys, if you even had an audition.
I mostly begged.
I heard there was a number 3, and I said, whatever it takes. Can I clean your car? You need a vacuum, whatever you need. And then Damien, I did a really good job with the car. If this guy can Simonize a car like this, he could play Santa.
Damien, Leone's, and all that, right? That's how you get in?
What?
So to clean the car is to get in, right?
His car.
His car.
Can I clean your car?
If you want to get in, you got to clean my car. And then I introduce you to him to clean his car.
Valuable information.
So, I believe Gino Caffarelli, I never actually asked you, but Gino was the one who recommended me, because you were looking for actors and actresses.
And Gino is?
Gino is, he plays the pizzeria owner.
Yeah, Jack-o'-lantern head.
Yeah. And Gino and I Gino and I had come out of school, and I did my first ever project with Gino, and he recommended me, and I did an audition. And then I guess the rest is history. You probably had no one else auditioning for the part. That's how I got the job.
How did you get involved in drag?
How did I get involved? How did I audition?
How did you come up with it?
Right, how did you come up with this?
That's something I've always wanted.
From the very beginning.
I know. I wish it was a more interesting story, because it wasn't like this. lightning bolt moment where I was like, here's Art the Clown, like he came to me in a dream. It was just when I was getting into filmmaking and making my first short films, I just said, I need sort of generic horror movie characters that I could take and put my own spin on them. And I loved killer clowns, but I thought there was something I could do differently, something a little fresh with a killer clown. So I said, I'm going to take my crack at it and see if anything comes of it. And I wanted him to just be as different from Pennywise at the time. So that's why he is not colorful. Like everything, you just look at both of them, they're as opposite as can be in terms of one speaks, one doesn't. Art uses weapons, Pennywise doesn't. And then I wanted to put him in sort of this real world situation that anybody could relate to. And the first thing I ever wrote with him was, what if like someone's just on a bus in the middle of the night alone, and then all of a sudden this clown gets on and just starts messing with this woman, and it's really awkward and uncomfortable, and it starts getting increasingly more, sadistic and threatening. And I was like, I like that idea. I'm going to kick off my short film with that. And then when I saw what Art the Clown looked like for the first time, I got to be honest, everybody was like, ooh, there's just something there. You didn't know what it was, but there was something just really striking about him. You're like, that's interesting. And he was only in the first 4 minutes. Everybody I showed that short film to would say, yeah, cool makeup, this, that, your demons at the end are cool. They're like, what is up with that fucking clown? And they're like, he's too cool. Like, that can't be it. You got to make more things with him. And I got that note across the board. So I said, all right, I'm going to make another short film now that focuses solely on him. And I loved slashers so much, I said, I'm going to go all in and make him a slasher now. And it was just, every time I'd make something new with him, it was sort of the fan base would grow, or the hype around him would just grow a little more. And it was like, all right, now I got to get him into a feature. So it was just all these stepping stones, and he became sort of my North Star that I had to just keep following. I said, I know there's something there. Everybody keeps telling me there's something there, and eventually it just clicked. But it seems like this overnight success, kind of, right? Because once part 2 came out, it was this sort of indie sensation. But I mean, this is a long time in the making. This was 2005 when I made the first short film. So
literally 20 years.
Yeah, so I love telling, especially a lot of filmmakers come up to me, aspiring filmmakers. So you just have to really be persistent and believe in what you're doing, and things don't happen like that. And just follow your gut, follow your dream, and you do it.
That one? Oh, the audition? I just auditioned. Like I put in a tape for it. I think I put in a tape for her and Sienna. I can't remember. Something like that. It might have been both. And then I got a call back, and Damien called me and told me I got it, and he told me before I accepted I should watch the first movie.
I remember from your audition, I love that you were eating cookies.
Eating an actual
and that
cookie.
really stood out.
Yes, I do love a prop.
Do you remember which scene it was that you auditioned with?
I remember screaming.
No, I remember what it was. It was when you're...
Monica Brown cookie?
Yes, that's why you're eating the cookies. Yeah. It was when we first meet her character, and she starts talking about how Monica Brown was muted.
Looks like the inside of the cookie, and I was like, I have a cookie. It's a missed opportunity otherwise. Love that. There we go.
Yeah, Damien even sent me that audition of you, and then he's
Really?
like, what do you think of this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's
That
fantastic.
sounds great.
It's like, cast her. She's just doing this great bit with a cookie. This is hysterical.
Just eating a cookie.
I love that. I was like, because I had done a show way back in the day, a children's theater show. I did The Frog Prince, and I did a whole thing with eating a cookie, and I was just constantly spitting food in the princess's face while I was talking to her, and that made me think, I was like, oh, this is great. She's got great comic instincts here. She's going to be fantastic for this. I was like, and we were right.
Yes.
As for myself, y'all probably heard this story maybe a few times, but I just responded to an online notice on Actors Access looking for a tall, skinny guy with experience doing comedy or physical comedy or clowning, and I went in and I didn't have a script or anything like that, and I freaked out. And they're like, oh no, you don't need one. Art doesn't talk. And they're like, just improvise a scene where you're happy about decapitating somebody and go. And I had to just improvise a scene like that. You can see it online, and it's kind of weird. I ended up halfway through it, like not liking the taste of the guy's blood, so I took out a salt shaker, started seasoning it. Liked it. I guess that's what got me the role. It wasn't my roguish good looks, so.
There you go. Stop that.
I was eating cookies while watching Roebuck's car, and instantly was cast. None of these things are actually true. Just a normal audition in my garage. it is interesting because I was working on a TV show in Mexico City, and I was cast right before, like the week before. And they called me and said, "You've been offered this part." I said, "Let me read the script." To which he said, "No, there's no script." And I was like, what is this fucking project? There's no script. And I was like, I don't know, guys. But then they sent me these 8 pages and to test them to the writing because I read the 8 pages and I was like, okay, this shit's funny. I had no idea what the movie was, and if I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't know what Terrifier was. And so when I showed up to do it, I showed up to do an 8-page scene with this fucking lunatic. And the next thing I knew, I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. But this is fucking entertaining, and they've got something happening here, which of course you already did. But yeah, my story literally was just a traditional audition, and I filmed them in my garage in Los Angeles and pretend I'm in New York. But yeah.
I can only imagine what year was going through your mind then when I first came in with that pack. I'm like, oh my God, what did I get myself into?
No, because I started doing research on YouTube, and holy fuck, is that a rabbit hole. And I was watching, by the time I showed up, I was watching like hour-long videos about, like, we saw a piece of skin on art, and like there was these wild theories about why they did it on purpose. And like all this shit, and I was like, what is going on with this thing? And the correlations between you and God, and also you and Satan.
Yeah.
And I was like, which is it? I was so confused.
It's the flying spaghetti monster. He's a pastafarian.
That's right.
Amazing. Okay, audience questions. Raise those hands.
Who's Maurice Jackson?
Me, biatch.
Do you really not know who Maurice Jackson is?
No, I don't.
Oh. Yeah, so Maurice Jackson is the workers that go to the abandoned building where she wakes up and kills them. That's the guy that she kills in the bed. Yeah, the one that she kills in the bed.
If you look at the license, has the actor's picture on it.
You can ask
He asked me earlier, and I said that's who it was, and he goes, I think it's the dude from part 2, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, what do we know?
Don't make a video on YouTube.
You had one.
Of the fan theories that are out there, which is like each of your favorites for Art the Clown's origin? Without spoilers for Terrifier.
Popular one. I don't know if it's my favorite, but that Sienna's father is Art. Yeah. But you'll find out. You'll find out in part 4. Truth. I will reveal his origin in the next one.
Anyone else want to contribute to that?
I remember seeing one like years ago, and I know, of course, it's not true or anything like that, but this person had this whole thing about this guy who was like, he was a surgeon, and he went crazy one day because something happened, and that's why Art's so good at like dissecting people and all that weird stuff. I was like, oh, this is, I wish there's more to it. I can't remember it right now, but I was like, this is wacky. And then he ended up being like a surgeon for a circus or something. I was like, okay, now you're getting crazy.
Anyone else on the favorite fan theory?
Jehovah's Witness.
I've actually never gone down
No, you don't
YouTube
know.
rabbit hole. I'm just terrified to see what's out there. So I don't know.
All right, who else? Yeah.
Hey, David, since you're campaigning to play the Joker in the DCU, who would you like to see opposite as Batman for you?
Well,
Sit down, Gordon. I would really like Jensen Ackles. I think. He's already done like the animated version of Batman. I love
What
this.
did you say?
Jensen from
Okay.
Supernatural.
Yeah. Because he does a great Batman, and I think he has a great look for the character too. So I think that would be fun. Plus, I would just love to work with Mike. He's a really cool dude. So, but if there's ever a Harley Quinn, this is who I want. So, that would definitely put a smile on my face.
So Jonathan's death in part 3 was very ambiguous.
I knew this was coming.
Not dead.
Wait, I'm sorry. Continue. Right.
I just didn't know if that was just out of respect for his character that it wasn't shown, or if like he really planned to go back and tear him apart.
Well,
in hindsight.
I would say now because I didn't expect it to be as polarizing and controversial as it is. So I'd rather not say anything about it ever again. No, I'm kidding. Because you will get some serious closure regarding his character in the next one.
You had one, right? Black sweatshirt? No? Any others?
Exactly.
Any other questions? Yes?
So this would be for Damien. I know Friday we sort of talked on like practical effects. So out of all the ones you've worked on, what was your favorite practical effect that actually you pulled off?
Good question. There's been a lot of cool ones, a lot of really difficult ones. As a whole, I'm very proud of the bedroom murder in part 2. We intentionally went in there to try and one-up ourselves from part 1, and of course everybody who was a fan of Terrifier would always speak about the hacksaw scene, so we said we got to raise the bar somehow. So there was a lot of pressure, and it was rewarding when it worked. But I think within that scene, what I'm most proud of pulling off is not using CGI to take her arm away. So, and this is also a testament to Casey, who basically just had to hide her arm as far back behind her back. And we glued this stump to her, and we painted her arm black in case it poked out. And she could only kind of like cheat her body to a certain way to the camera. If she moved like an inch too far, we'd have to do another take. So it was really tricky to pull that off. And it looks really convincing.
It worked very well.
Happy about that.
So, I love that part too. So.
No, thank you.
That whole scene was really convincing. You told me on one of the panels that was a puppet at the end, and I thought it was her poking out through the bed. That's how real it looked.
Oh, thank you.
So I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, that was me and Phil Falcone, the producer. We built that together. We took a mold of Casey sitting down in that position when she's on the bed. And I knew this body had to wake up, but I wanted it to look. Basically, I wanted the audience to know that this is not a human being. I guess that didn't work, but no. I wanted it to be.
We're in the world now.
I wanted you to be looking at this corpse and say, "Wow!" I mean, it's so mangled that they had to resort to a dummy at this point. And then that's why I wanted that thing to wake up, and you guys should be like, "Oh fuck, she's still alive." But I never built anything that intricate. I don't know how to build animatronics or anything, but I said, I know I could turn this thing to some sort of rod puppet, like a very crude rod puppet. So we basically had a fake bed, and the whole thing was on a set. So the puppet was operated from people beneath the bed, just sticking rods, like in her leg under the bed, and we had tubing, just rubber gloves in her chest that somebody was hiding under the bed and blowing into them, and it made it look like she was breathing. And then someone behind the wall sticking a rod in the head, and they could just kind of like lift the head up and make it wake up. So we just cued that all on action, and she kind of just like comes to life, and it was cool. I mean, it worked. It's one of my favorite shots, one of the most shocking things. So.
Anyone else? Yes.
Are you ready to talk about the balloon animal incident?
The balloon animal incident. That's a Dave thing. Is that what you're referring to? And Terrifier 2 with the man's penis?
I thought it would be funny. to just like blow up the just the tip and make it into balloon animal.
So yeah, nobody knows when the dude. Why am I forgetting the character's name? Jeff. Sorry. When he gets castrated in part 2, typically everything with Terrifier obviously is excess. It's more. It's like, all right, what can we do next? And then, even if it's not in the script, actors and whatnot, they'll throw ideas. What if we do this? What if we do that? And Dave had an interesting idea of what he could do with that, his member, once it was off. And I said, I think we're going a little too far. Don't put that anywhere near your mouth. Yep.
Little man in the front, I forgot your name. You have one.
What is the hardest visual effect to do in all of the Terrifiers? Like, what was the hardest thing to do?
Hardest visual effect to accomplish in all the Terrifiers.
Very good question. They were all pretty friggin' difficult, not gonna lie. I guess, I mean, at the time, it was really hard for us to pull off the hacksaw scene in the first movie, because I'd never done anything like that. I've never built a whole fake body before. It was even really difficult to figure out how to get Catherine to hang upside down. I mean, there's no trickery. I mean, she's really just hanging up there by her ankles. So that we're just building that sort of a kind of makeshift swing set almost. Just figuring out how to build that, and my buddy George was the DP. He actually built that, and we had to figure out how to make it strong enough, safe enough, and everything. So that was a scary thing to pull off, make sure everybody was safe, and it came out good. So I'm happy about that.
For the rest of you guys, what was the most challenging part about filming your death scenes?
Sam's never go Terrifier.
No, the death scene was my favorite fucking part of Terrifier. Now, I actually, with my death scene, I only had to do this weird, like, oh man, because I wasn't there for most of my death scene. You basically filmed with a dummy. But there was one moment where I think you just wanted to torture me, where it was like completely, it was always quiet because we were calling action, but Damien wanted me to like basically do all these weird jerky moments while I was screaming, and it was probably really atrocious to watch. But I actually cheered when I died because everything before that was extremely grueling. The prosthetics, but the death scene was pretty straightforward for me, and I guess you really were just working with the dummy.
I was working with a dummy before we even got to the dummy. Now, can we give it up for her, though, seriously? I love her so much. She's so dedicated, and she really pushed herself into an area that none of us expected, or she really had to go out of her comfort zone and be very vulnerable in this part. And which part? The whole not only mentally, but I mean, it is really, really difficult to act in that makeup. That makeup, it does nothing positive for an actor, really. It's just so, she can only see through one tiny pinhole in that eyeball. Wow. A pinhole, literally. So, I mean, I'm able to pop the eye in and out of the prosthetic so she can kind of see where she is, but when it's rolling, I mean, we got to basically blind her, and she has to kind of remember where she is and where her marks are. And plus, her dentures lock into her mouth and push her lip all the way up, and then the mask gets glued into that. So she can't speak properly. It's really hard to enunciate with those teeth and with her lips. So, I mean, it was not fun for her by any means, and she just did such an incredible job bringing that character to life. Man.
Thank you, Samantha.
Yeah. She was like in makeup for like 8 hours a day, too.
But thank you to Damien, because, I mean, it's been like an amazing journey for me, meeting everyone and getting to work with phenomenal artists, but just to be a part of Damien Leone's vision it's like once in a gajillion, and it's been such a wild ride. So it was definitely grueling, to say the least, but I also got to work with the best of the best, and, you know, it will always be so special to me, so.
Danny, do you want to talk about your death scene, challenges, joys?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I think it's the best death scene in any Terrifier movie. It's certainly the most elaborate, and I said, you know the death scene's going to be big when they say, Dan, get out of the shot, and then they wheel in the other version of it. But Christian Tinsley and his team did a great job for Damien on that movie. Probably the hardest thing was keeping a straight face during all of our preemptive death stuff. I used to said that you were spitting in the actor's face. So a friend of mine, a very smart guy, cop, he goes, when he spits on you, how do they do that? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, how do they make it look like he's spitting on you? I said, he spits on you. And so now I've got to find that Princess Frog, and we'll have
that. Oh, I felt so bad.
No.
Oh, there's this great take, because we were doing multiple takes of that too, and he's just getting
more and more. I'm so sorry. And then we do this one take, and he's in the middle of the dialogue, and you don't really have to spit in my face this time, Clowny. Blah blah. He just in the middle of the dialogue. I almost lost her right there because we just kept going. But I'm like, oh, but I knew. I was like, okay, good. I don't actually have to spit in his face. But how he just integrated it right into everything he was saying.
It's joyful working with David, joyful working with Bradley and Clint, and joyful most especially working with Damien. You guys should know, I've been in, it sounds braggy, and I guess it is, but I've been in 200 movies. And in 200 movies, thanks, I would put Damien in the top 5 directors of all the people I've worked with. So, and that's what he brings. That's why you're all sitting here. You have to understand this. It's not because art kills people. It's not because Samantha does something with glass. But it's because we have a visionary director telling a story that's so grand it takes 4 movies to tell. And so it's an honor for us, I think, to be part of it. But I'm grateful that I got to be part of it here. So.
Thank you, buddy. I watched his car, so he'd say that. Thanks, buddy. I gotta say, though, that the most fun, I think Dave will say the same thing, we ever had in the entire trilogy was shooting that bar scene and just watching these guys play off of each other. I never laughed so hard watching that monitor. You would get to the point where I'd forget to say cut, you just forget we're filming, and there was so much improvisation. I mean, these guys brought those characters to life and brought so much comedy. They injected so much humor into that scene that wasn't on the page. So, I mean, that's what you get when you're working with incredible actors, and you got to just trust them and let them do their thing and know that they're bringing something to the table, you know, that they have these talents that they could bring to elevate your material. And it was so amazing to see that. Even with Clint, you know, I mean, their dynamic between the 3 of them was so amazing to watch. And then you bring art into the middle of that, and it was just gold. It was really so cool. Especially, yeah, and Dave during that too. That was probably, there were like 3 scenes during Terrifier 3 where I pulled Dave aside and I said, man, I'm like, you are really in the zone here. I mean, just keep doing what you're doing. This is so good. This is some of the best stuff you've ever done. I mean, it was just facial expressions he was making in when he was torturing Dan. When he was in the mall with the children. I mean, there were just moments where you feel that there's something magical happening and he's really tapping into the zone. I mean, it's really like a football player who's just like in the zone. And yeah, it was just really, it's really fun to watch when those things happen and you feel it.
Absolutely, thank you. Yes, Matt.
I have a question, but also a comment. Just thank you all for being here this weekend. You've been, it's our first days of the Dead Con, me and my partner and I, and you've all been just so humble and just stellar, and thanks for that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mo.
My question, I guess, Damien, you can't really answer because you're the mastermind that's going to write the script, but what is something that all of you want to see happen in Terrifier 4?
I would never give an answer to that because it will never touch what Damien's going to do. No, I don't really. I'm a fan now, so I'm ready to sit front row seat of part 4 and see him work his magic. But obviously, you know, I love all the characters, but to see David and Lauren go head to head, I think that's going to be the most exciting. Like I always say, and you guys have probably heard me say it at the table, but like how they ended with the chainsaw scene, and that wasn't the end of the franchise. That was just the end of part 3. I'm like, where the fuck is it going to go? Good luck, Phil Falcone, the producer, producing that final scene. But I'm really excited to see their final showdown.
I just echo that. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to buy a ticket.
Yeah, I feel like if they have to go into hell, I just want selfishly Brooke to be like smoking a cig, like she's definitely in hell, and be like, "What the fuck are you guys doing here?" That's what I want.
Wait, I didn't know we could put ourselves in it. You'd be on.
Yeah, you're fucking it up. See you there.
You'd be on my lap. I thought I
Do you have something to contribute to that, Bradley? What would you like to see?
I'm a little pissed.
I know you're new.
My bitch was my twin brother, but this is smarter. I was going to do a haircut from you. I mean, I'm not Roebuck. I haven't done 200 movies, but I've worked quite a bit, and 25 years in this business. And when somebody was asking me about this particular movie, and one of the things that's interesting that you all should know, just in terms of the appreciation of it, a lot of times you show up and somebody is a genius with the makeup and the special effects, and you're like, that's wonderful, but the movie still doesn't work for a million other reasons. One of those reasons being the script doesn't work. Another one being the direction doesn't work. So what you guys have sitting in front of you is somebody that knows how to do all of those things.
Yeah.
And that's why this is what it is. And that's, listen, dude, I write and make movies myself, and I was like, you really know what you're doing, which is cool. And also allows us to sit in a room and fuck around for a couple days, knowing that we're in good hands, that you're going to take care of it. And we got this guy over here doing this mime shit that's brilliant. You know? And so you're part of something that's going to work, so you're willing to, jump off a little bit of a cliff and go, he's not going to use it if it doesn't work anyway. Whereas sometimes if you do, you're like, oh God, if I do this, he's going to put it in, I'm going to look like an asshole.
Yeah.
We're not worried about that. So it's just a really fun place to play. And I think that's why you all enjoy it, because you guys recognize that we are playing. Yeah. Having a good time.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, so I guess more of that for 4, okay?
Can I ask, what would you like to see in Part 4?
Ooh, that's too much pressure right now.
She's just worried you'll steal it.
Just don't fuck it up.
No pressure, sir. No pressure at all. Any questions in this section? Yes.
I was just curious, with Terrifier 3 having a much bigger makeup department, how that changed the experience for you, because you also love to do the makeup.
Yeah. Yeah, it was wonderful, because that's one of the reasons why Terrifier 2 took forever to make. It took years to make Part 2, because it was really just Phil and myself doing all the makeup effects. We had another makeup artist, Alana, who was helping us out for a little bit, but ultimately it was just 2 guys building everything, and then a week at a time we'd stop shooting, go into his basement for 2 weeks, build what was coming up, and then call everybody back and be like, all right, we're ready, let's go. So that's not how you make a movie. So it was amazing to have a team now that can just go off and build everything. Well, now I can focus on every other aspect of filmmaking, which is what a director really does. He manages all these departments. I mean, every department, you have to go through everybody's wardrobe, everything that's in a room on the set design. I mean, production designer presents you with everything. What about these paintings? What about this color? What about that bed sheet? So it's a lot of work, so I was able to focus on all that, and I think because of it, it's technically the best film out of the trilogy. I mean, whether or not it's the best film is subjective, but I don't think you can argue. I think it's the best looking and the best well made, and that's because I got to really focus more with these other departments where I get pulled away too much with the practical effects. So it was great to have teams like Christian Tinsley, or this guy is responsible for the work on Passion of the Christ and No Country for Old Men, Westworld. I mean, this is another level of practitioner here that was just incredible to work with. So it was really cool, but I still have to get my hands bloody. So you'll see tons of behind the scenes where I'm still putting blood on like every prop, because instead of me just saying, oh, I want a little dot of blood here, I'll just go in there and put it myself.
No, you literally, there were moments you were so slammed, but I felt like there were moments Damien was like trying to sneak into the room with us and like touch us up, because I feel like even though you're doing a million things, there's a part of you that still missed.
Can't get
that
part, right?
It's amazing.
Did you have a question?
Yeah. What kill would you like him to do in the next movie?
What kill would I like him to do in the next movie?
Like all of you, what would you like to see him do?
Wouldn't you like to know? I can't tell you. I know what they are. Yeah. So I still have some bullets in the chamber, some really crazy kills that I've been sitting on waiting for this last one. So I'm excited for you guys to see it, but I can't tell you what it's going to be.
Do you ever change a kill plan? Like you have your set plan, your script, your kills, everything, right? And then someone says something, or you think of something, or they suggest something, you're like, actually, never mind, we're doing that instead.
It depends, because a lot of these things are built so intricately and they only work a certain way. You can only improv with them so much, but other times the effect doesn't work, and then you're forced to come up with another way to make it work. So it's always changing. But like I said before, when we're dealing with the props and there's a severed leg, and it's like, all right, could we do anything else funny, like or something interesting, like Dave smelling the foot after crossing it? That wasn't it, and he came up with that on the spot. So it's like always trying to figure out new things to do while we're messing with these body parts if it's possible. But with every aspect of it, you always want it to be better. Like nothing is really too sacred. Open, everybody's open to give their input or give some thought if it could be better, right? And all the way into the edit of the movie, you could change the whole movie in the editing room. So until it's like ripped out of your hands and it's up on the screen, I'll keep changing it to make it better if I possibly can.
Thank you. Okay, one final question to wrap us up, and I would love to know for all of you guys, what is the most rewarding part about being a part of the Terrifer? Start with Dan.
You guys. Thank you for the support.
I'm going to say the same thing.
It's a blessing.
Yeah, it really is. It's I've said this a million times, but I've come into horror through the Terrifier franchise, and obviously it's been, like I said earlier, one of the best experiences of my life as an artist and becoming my friend.
But the biggest waste of a beautiful face in the history of cinema.
Which I think he hated me because he just keeps continuously torturing me more and more, but I realize that's his love language. But no, it really is. I really love meeting everyone and hearing why you love Terrifier and what it means to you, and it really has made me love like what I do even more, and made it that much more fulfilling, but also love the genre and really appreciate like what we've been doing all these years. So thank you all for being so awesome. It's been such a pleasure.
I really can't say it much better than that. You guys, the stories we hear where you realize, for the horror fans anyway, for the real hardcore fans, it sort of transcends being a movie, and it hits you guys on such a personal level, and when it's on a positive level like that, it's the most rewarding feeling, and it reminds me why I do this and why I fell in love with it as a child without really realizing why it was so powerful. And that's just one of the most beautiful things, and just the relationships that I've formed, and now the beautiful friendships that I have and will continue to have for the rest of my life is really the most amazing thing. So, but you guys are so amazing, seriously.
And this group of people who are now a family, we were talking about it yesterday, we're basically making our own production company with like all of them, we're just recycling, because it's so like, you always want to work with talented people, but then you always want to work with good people too. And I mean, that's a testament to you guys and to your casting as well, like just the people with the biggest hearts work here, and then getting to come here because of the fans and getting to see everybody, and we see people multiple times. It means the world to us. You guys are the best.
I was going to say craft services, but especially
Definitely not.
those
Definitely not.
I'm kidding. No, it's definitely you guys. It's been so much fun just being able to travel. But it's been fun just traveling all over this nation and actually this planet too recently. Just go see the fans everywhere we've been going. We got to go to Europe this past year as well on doing some press out there, and it was so cool to see how this character and this franchise has reached people all over the world. I hear from fans from all over the world how much they love this character, and I think part of it is because he's a silent character, so he translates very well internationally in that regard, and I think that's pretty cool. It's something I've never seen happen in quite some time with a character like this in a franchise, and especially because it's purely organic too. It wasn't mass produced by the big Hollywood engine. It's been the fans that made it all happen. It's you guys going out there and talking about this little film, and it just keeps going and going and going. I mean, they just mentioned Damien last night at the Indie Film Awards, and name dropped him, though they didn't nominate us for anything. But he's helped revolutionize this industry in a lot of ways as well, and I think we're going to start seeing a lot more fun horror films coming out because of this, because it's you guys have allowed us to do what we're doing, and it's encouraging other filmmakers to go out there and start having fun with horror again. And I think you can already see that in some of the films that have already come out this year, like with Companion and Hard Eyes and Monkey. I mean, they're fun films, and I think that trend's going to keep going. It's all because of you guys, so give yourselves a round of applause for that.
If I say you guys, it would be wrong, so it's just Dan. Sorry. Didn't pay me to say that, but he's going to watch my car. Actually, truthfully, I would take it maybe one step further and say, I'm new to a lot of what's happening here this weekend, and so thank you guys for welcoming me in. But one of the things that's so cool, I was talking to my wife last night about what this experience is like, and I said, well, the only way for me to sort of verse it is like outside of this place, the world's doing one thing right now, which is sort of chaos, but in here it's like pure passion and joy. And that's pretty awesome. And it's building real things too, and I think that's because it's coming from a good place. So the feelings and the joy you guys all have about this, if I would be so bold as to say, invite you to like sort of let yourself live in that place even out there, because that's addictive for all of us. And that's a feeling we all need more of. So, one step further, you guys, this thing that you love is actually making you better people, so enjoy that too.
Okay, so before I turn you loose and before we take our traditional picture, we need to bring up some very special people for a raffle drawing, apparently, yeah? All right. So, everyone, give it up for Outcast, Lisa, everyone.
So we wanted to do a little something to help out Lisa and her son, Dominic, to get him some, to help him get his dental surgery that he's trying to get. So we decided to put up this, it's a limited, sold out Christmas sweater that a lot of people were really wanting. So a lot of really great members decided to do, we did a raffle, and they put some money in and some tickets, and we're going to draw one.
Yeah.
This is Thornton.
That's a hard name. Kiona Long.
Take care of my sweater.
I also want to thank everyone. I don't know everybody's names, but I see a whole lot of people that are on my son's donor list, and I don't know where we would be without you. So thank you. We love you.